this map is the reason that Demons and Barons look just slightly better than normal in this WOD. Rubik's changed the palette a little bit to add more dark reds so that this area wouldn't just turn into a mess of brown in softer mode. It's an interesting level, and the layout is really kind of cool, the way it loops around on itself and how it's structured. I don't really take the time to appreciate it in this video, but you can load it up and see for yourself. So the first fight is sort of interesting. Your weapon against all these archviles that you simply don't have the ammo to take care of is that crusher platform, where the diagonal shaped teleporter works only on monsters, and you got to lure them onto the teleporter and onto that death pillar there. It's worth noting that they can still attack you even while they're up there, even while they're getting crushed to death sometimes, potentially. And the thing goes up and down, so they're not always being crushed to death. So it's kind of, they're not nullified once you trick them onto the thing. You've still got to watch out. It's pretty straightforward for the first few, but at the end it throws two at you at once, and then things can get really hairy. This one's the most annoying one because he's got kind of a ways to walk. It's interesting how it can't quite figure out the how to clip it in softer mode. It has no problem in the OpenGL mode. Anyway, this is pretty tricky. This can go all kinds of ways, especially because they tend to revive gunners, which causes me more trouble than usual in this case. One of them went in pretty quickly, and I thought, okay, worst is over, but it turns out the worst isn't over yet. Waiting for him to die. Okay, now I think I can just lure the next guy in, but nope. The chain gunner goes in, and he just chews me up from on top of the platform. I lost you saw, I lost like 120 health there. Pretty bad. But it's not run ending. There's a lot of this map's kind of interesting that there's a ton of supercharges and very little of anything else. There's only one green armor and it's secret. This is probably the hardest and definitely the coolest part in the map. You get a big congested fight where enemies warp in at 3 distinct points all around, and you pretty much only have the rocket launcher to work with. You do have 3 shots from the secret BFG, which was pretty obvious, so everybody should have it. I'm about to use it because I'm running out of space. This is doable without the BFG. I mean, sometimes I just find I don't need to bust it out, and I don't bust it out till I have to. But it would be pretty mean without it. Even though Lost Souls are a trash enemy, they're by far what I'm the most scared of right now, because of shit like that. So, the way out of here is by hitting that switch, which opens the switch in this little tunnel, which triggers both this secret here and also a slowly moving pillar that reveals the exit. So you could just rush for those triggers and try to leave early. I don't really think that's necessarily any easier than just fighting it out honestly. Now this also goes badly for me. The Cyber Demon shoots really late. If you're lucky and he shoots immediately, you can move from left to right and get just almost the entirety of the Barons mad at him right at the start, with you far away from where the action's happening. I ended up losing a lot of health right at the start there, so that wasn't very cool, but at least I survived and whatever. You can feel free to use your rockets to clean up this nonsense, since rockets are pretty much useless in the final fight, and we're nearly to the final fight. This is a short map. This is kind of funny that Revenant fired after I'd already marked him as dead in my mind. I feel a moment of regret after taking that 5 health metapack, just because there are a couple of Revenants before you go to the finale proper. It's just terrible not to get there with 100 HP. But I mean, even if I, took a hit and then got a metapack, it still probably wouldn't take me to 100. So whatever, just don't get hit, right? That helps. Since the finale is one of those encounters where it's almost impossible to not take damage at all. These rockets it gives you are weird, because like you genuinely can't use them. I don't know, I guess you could use them on the Cyber Demon. It's inefficient, but I guess efficiency doesn't matter as much. So when you get the armor piece, it triggers this. What you don't see is that a Cyber Demon gets warped into the little alcove where all the good stuff was. So you got to make sure that you don't get trapped between him and the rest of the guys, and also make sure you don't pick up the red key before you're ready, since it triggers this. And it's pretty nasty when this starts happening while you're still trying to clean up the big massive initial elements. The only enemy left in the map now is that Cyber Demon. This is an insanely awkward angle to kill a Cyber Demon on, and I get extremely lucky there not to die. That was like, I took, I think, something like less than 150 damage from that rocket, which is not exactly likely. It was probably pretty close to minimum damage. So, what you probably really just should do is not even bother with the BFG there, since it's awkward. It takes like a full second to come out. You should just super shotgun him to death, since there's plenty of ammo. Don't be impatient. This is one of those weird quasi-death exits where it's hurt floor, and then it ends the map on the tick before you die. So actually, if you're not just pistol starting, you'll start the next map with 5 health and all your weapons. Kind of weird. Good level.